Hi everyone. Today I brought for you one of my favorite books. It's Izzy Barr, Running Star. Are any of you athletes or do you guys love to play sports? Can you raise your hand? Alright, great. So if you guys love to play sports, you're going to really enjoy Izzy Barr, Running Star. Because she is in fact a running star. She's the fastest in her class. But she has a lot of competition too. There's a girl named Skipper who runs just as fast as Izzy, sometimes even faster. So when there's a big field day coming up at school and a big 10K race in town, she has a lot of training to do to try to beat Skipper. But she has another problem. Her dad never comes to any of her games. Does that sound fair? No. So when Izzy has these important races coming up, she has to think of a plan to get her dad to come. He never comes because she has an older brother who's been playing sports longer than her. He's older, so the games are more competitive. But now Izzy's getting older and she has competitive races of her own. So it's about time her dad starts coming. So if you guys want to find out how Izzy's training to beat Skipper and what plan she thinks of to see if her dad can come to the race or not, you should read Izzy Barr, Running Star to find out. And if you enjoy it, Claudia Mills, the author, has a whole series about Izzy and her friends. If you guys like reading, if you guys like math, if you like spelling and trivia, or there's a new book out called Cody Harmon, King of Pets. So if you like this book, you might want to read her brand new book next. So if you're interested, stop by and pick one of these up. Thanks. Hi everyone. Do any of you have any pets at home? Can you raise your hand? You do? Do you love taking care of your pet? Yeah, but it's a lot of work sometimes, right? It can be. So I brought for you a book called Mason-Dixon Pet Disasters. This is about a boy named Mason who gets into a lot of trouble from his pets. He doesn't like pets. He doesn't want any pets because he thinks they're a lot of responsibility and a lot of work, and that can just lead to a lot of trouble. But his parents don't know that. His parents think, let's get Mason a pet. So they get him a pet fish. Seems harmless, right? Well, unfortunately, Mason isn't that excited about getting a pet fish. Guess what he names his pet fish? He names it Fish. So Mason has his new pet fish, and unfortunately, Fish only lasts about a week. He passes away. And Mason thinks no more pets, they're trouble. But his parents don't know that. And his parents think, let's get Mason another pet. So they get him a guinea pig. And guess what he names the guinea pig? He names it Guinea Pig. And unfortunately, Guinea Pig doesn't last that long either. He runs away. Guinea Pig, unfortunately, runs away. And now Mason has had Fish and Guinea Pig, and he thinks no more pets. They're trouble. But he doesn't tell his parents this, and the parents think, let's get Mason another pet. So they get him a pet cat. And guess what he names his pet cat? That's right, he names it Cat. So he has his new pet cat. But there's a problem. Mason has a best friend named Brody, and Brody is terribly allergic to cats. And every time Brody comes over, he swells up, he gets a terrible allergic reaction. So Mason tells his parents, I can't keep Cat. Brody can't even come over to play. If Brody can't come over to play, we're going to have to send Cat back. I guess we can't keep it. And unfortunately, Cat gets sent back to the shelter because Brody's allergic, and Brody's Mason's best friend. So Brody tells Mason, Mason, you have to get another pet. Pets are the best. And Mason says, no, Brody, no. I've gone through Fish. I've gone through Guinea Pig. I've even had Cat. Pets don't work out. They are trouble. And Brody says, okay. Now Brody's very convincing. He goes over to Mason's parents and he says, you know what Mason would love? He would love this pet dog at the shelter. He told me so. You should get it for him. And his parents believe Brody. So his parents come home with a new pet dog. And guess what Mason names dog? That's right, he names him Dog. He's not very creative with names. So now Mason has a new pet dog, and he says, Brody, why did you tell my parents I wanted a pet dog? Pets are trouble. And Brody says, Mason, don't worry. I'm going to help you out this summer. I'm going to come over every day to help you take care of dog. It's going to be fine. We're going to have a great summer. And Mason says, okay, but you better keep your promise. But you know what happens? Brody goes away on a family vacation all summer long. So he's not even there to help Mason take care of his new pet dog. And you know what makes it even worse? Brody left his pet fish with Mason. Do you guys remember what happened to Mason's pet fish? Does it look good for Brody's pet fish and his new dog? Do you guys want to know what happens? You're going to have to read to find out. So if you guys are interested in reading this, you can come pick it up. And if you enjoy it, you can read about Mason Dixon's other disasters. There's a 4th grade disaster and also a basketball disaster. So I hope you guys check it out. Enjoy! Hi everyone! Have you guys ever taken a class trip that you really, really loved? Have you guys ever taken a plane to go to a class trip? Well, I brought for you the worst class trip ever. This is by Dave Barry. This is about a boy named Wyatt, and he's traveling with his class from Miami and flying to Washington, D.C. to spend a few days in the city without any parents. Doesn't that sound like the best class trip ever? Well, this ends up being the worst class trip ever because Wyatt decides to sit on the plane next to his best friend, Matt. And while Matt is his best friend, Matt tends to get into a lot of trouble because he likes to stick his nose where it doesn't belong. And Wyatt's the opposite. Wyatt loves following the rules because he hates getting into trouble. So when Wyatt decides to sit next to Matt, Matt points out that there's 2 weird men sitting behind them on the plane. They seem strange because they have pictures of the White House from a bird's eye view up above. And they also have a backpack that they won't let go of. They've been arguing with the stewardess about how they need to keep it really close. They refuse to put it up above or down below. They have to hold on to it. So when they're not looking, Matt reaches under the seat and he pulls out the backpack. The 2 men get so angry they jump over the seats and they get into a fight with Wyatt and Matt. And the air marshal has to get up and break up the fight. The air marshal takes the backpack from Matt and he looks inside and guess what he finds? He just finds a kite. And the 2 men behind him explain they're just traveling to Washington, D.C. They're going on a nice vacation. They're excited to see the city. So when Matt and Wyatt land, their teachers are really mad. They say that if they don't behave, they're going to be sent back home. So they have to be on their best behavior. So Matt and Wyatt are both on the tour bus to Washington, D.C. to start exploring the city with their class. But Wyatt notices something strange. The 2 men from the plane are chasing the bus yelling. And Wyatt goes, Matt, why are they chasing us? It's the 2 men from the plane. What could they possibly want? And Matt reaches into his pocket and he says, well, I kind of took this out of their backpack. And he pulls out a black box with a switch to it. Now, what do you think that is? Do you think that's something safe? It's a black box with a switch that he took out of a strange man's backpack. So Wyatt goes, Matt, why didn't you tell the air marshal that was in the backpack? And Matt said, you told me not to get in any trouble. And Wyatt goes, Matt, why didn't you just tell the teachers then? And Matt says, you told me not to say anything so we didn't get into any trouble. And Wyatt says, what are we going to do? They had the 2 men chasing after them. And they have this strange black switch they don't know what to do with. But if they get into any more trouble, they're going to be sent back home. And this is supposed to be the best class trip ever. They flew to Washington, D.C. But you know what else? There's another 2 men following the 2 men from the plane. So now Wyatt and Matt don't know what the switch is. They don't know who's good, who's bad, and how they're going to stay out of trouble and remain on their class trip. So, do you guys want to know what they do with the switch? And who the bad men are? Or if they're good? Then you're going to have to read the worst class trip ever and see why it gets to be the worst class trip ever. This is by Dave Barry. If you're interested in reading it, come by and pick it up. Thanks.